there. Good morning to you all. I'm calling in from Western Australia. For those of you who know me, I'm way out in a little tiny place called Kundal outside of 2J. For those of you who don't know where that is, that's east of Perth. Today, my topic is get out of the vicious cycle. You know, I've been getting so many people contact me about their ill health, and I've been talking to them. And as I receive health histories and I work through them, the same theme is all the way through most of them. And the theme is the lack of the correct nutrition or water or even physical activity. So today I'm going to outline a few very, very vital points, very important facts for people that they need to understand when it comes to their health, because your health actually depends on you, depends on what you do with your body, what you do with your mind. Now, today, I'm not going to answer any direct questions, but I'd like for anybody who has any questions to please write them down for me. Send them to me either via inbox, or you can write them directly on the link as I'm speaking, and I will get back to all the questions and answer every one of them. Or as I said, feel free to inbox me if they're personal. So what is this vicious cycle that I've recognized? Well, for the most part, people's ill health is all to do with how they're feeding their bodies. I've spoken time and time again on Facebook about nutrition, and I've spoken about the 4 primary foods. Now, the 4 primary foods, I will just let you know what they are for those of you who've never heard about them. Your 4 primary foods are your relationships. These are not found on your plate. These are your relationships, your career, your physical activity, and spirituality. Now, I'm not going into great detail on the 4 primary foods, but those are vital, very, very important, great needs for your health, for you to thrive normally and healthily. So the first thing I'm going to talk about today as far as getting out of the vicious cycle is looking at an acronym that's called A New Start. I've actually just written a wonderful publication on A New Start, and in fact it's a book, and I'm hoping to get that published very soon. I have been speaking about it some months, but I keep thinking about new things that need to go in there and making the additions. However, A New Start is an acronym that starts with A, attitude, and then new start, nutrition, exercise, water for new, and start, sunshine, temperance, air, rest, and trust. I've gone over this time and time again on Facebook. So today I'm going to start off by talking about A for attitude. Now, attitude has a great deal to do with our mental state and also our physical body, because the body and the mind are interconnected. You will hear a lot of people discussing, a lot of doctors now are actually talking on this topic and mentioning and talking about how important the connection between the body and the mind are. So attitude has a lot to do with your health. That's in brief. Nutrition, the beginning of the new. So new. Nutrition is vitally important for us in every way, every step of our lives, everything we do. Our nutrition, you've heard people say you are what you eat. I believe you are what you eat and you absorb, because not everything you eat is being absorbed. So what is not being absorbed, your body is actually unable to utilize. So I don't like this saying, you are what you eat, because you don't digest or absorb everything. So let's talk a little bit about nutrition here as far as diverse diseases concerned. You see, there are so many children that are classed ADHD. Now let's just look at ADHD for a minute. Look at exactly what is going on in your child. Look at exactly what happens after you feed them, and write down each time you see some strange things happening in your child's behavior. Write everything down they've eaten, and very soon you're going to see that ADHD is exacerbated by your nutrition. When you have somebody who's got eczema, or somebody who has very, very severe, I've just, lost my train of thought, asthma, we look at dairy products. Now, I know with hay fever, that's something I've struggled with my whole life. I've had to find out what it is that exacerbates my hay fever. There are certain things we can do, and there are certain things that are out of our control, depending on where you live and your surroundings and the season. Of course, we know it's seasonal. Now, if you are living in a suburb where you have a lot of bottle brushes, you will find that your hay fever is exacerbated. If you're living in the country like myself, when they start the burning off, you'll find your hay fever will be exacerbated. That's all the smoke in the area, the seeds, the pollens, the dust in your home. There's just so much that will exacerbate your hay fever. But what I have found that actually helps me is I use certain oils and I mix those up, and they work wonders. The other thing I've noticed is if I keep up my water intake and I don't allow myself to dehydrate, I'm not dry, of course, I find that my hay fever is better managed. And there's a lot more I can do. I noticed nice warm showers. I can have oils burning in my house, and all of this helps. The most important thing I found during the season is the food. The foods are the triggers, and finding out all the foods that will help. Now, I've found for myself personally, getting off the wheat has been extremely helpful for my hay fever, and finding the right grains, the grains that don't have the wheat. Now, I'm not going to give lists of foods or anything today, but I will do that personally for people who contact me. So your nutrition is vitally, vitally important for all the ailments, the diseases, and the struggles people have. We've got people who are phoning in or messaging me and saying their cholesterol levels are so high. And then when I ask them simply, what do they have for breakfast? They tell me they have bacon and eggs and sausages 3 or 4 times a week. Again, when we look at the nutrition and the dis-ease in the body, we can see the triggers. So we need to be very, very attentive, and we need to get out of this vicious cycle. So the vicious cycle, the reason why I call it a vicious cycle is because we're going to take just a couple of examples. Somebody that has severe hay fever or has severe asthma, what they do is they have the dairy products in their breakfast, or they love to drink milk or smoothies or ice cream. They're putting in the foods that are exacerbating those ailments, and then they're taking antihistamines or whatever drugs they need to get rid of those symptoms. That is a vicious cycle. You're putting in what's giving you the disease, the ailment, the illness, and then, pardon me, you have to put something else in to get rid of the symptoms. So, sorry, I just see my little girls joined in and giving me some really wonderful comments. Good morning, my baby. Good to see you listening in. So as I was saying, for those of us who are living in this vicious cycle, we really, really need to be attentive. There's definitely no point putting the nutrition in that's giving you the symptoms, and then you need to medicate yourself to get rid of those symptoms. So If you have hay fever or asthma and you are taking dairy products in, you're going to need medication to counteract the symptoms that you yourself have just given you. Now, that is just an example I've used, and there are so many more examples I can give you. But for those of you who are struggling with any ailment, feel free to send me a request, and I will help you with what foods are actually exacerbating your symptoms. As I said, I'm talking through the acronym A New Start, which actually will help you to get out of the vicious cycle. So I've spoken briefly on attitude. I haven't gone into great detail, briefly on nutrition, and now I want to talk a little bit about exercise. Exercise is absolutely vital for any form of dis-ease in the body. The more you exercise, the more it will help you to strengthen your body, which is being strengthened also because you're circulating your blood, you're cleaning your blood. Clean blood is what helps us to remove dis-ease from the body. So exercise every day. Walking is one of the best forms of exercise. It's not harsh on the body. It's cheap. It's cheap, cheap, cheap. You don't have to pay for the gym. You just get up and you just put on what you need to and you get out and you're ready to go. The other thing that I find is really helpful is if you have a spa, I like to do stretch exercise in my spa. Some people love the swimming pool. I personally don't, but if you have a swimming pool, it's great to do some stretching and also get a little noodle, and with that you can do some weights, utilizing your body and the water to use your muscles. Very, very simple to do. I'd actually be interested in the near future to going to a pool for those of you who are interested in those exercises, and recording, filming myself doing some of those for you. So exercise, exercise, exercise. And the next letter in the acronym is water. Water is vital. Without water, we cannot survive. I've written a blog on water, which you'll find in my website. My website is www.healthreform, which is the same as this Facebook page, healthreform.com.au. I will put a link up when I'm finished talking. So water, 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 vital for the body, vital for the brain. You know, the body and the brain really, really need the water. So after water, after W is S for sunshine. Sunshine is so important. All of this acronym, as I said to begin with, is going to help you to get out of the vicious cycle. If you live by these 8 natural doctors, which are, or 9, attitude, nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, air, rest, and trust, you will never ever need to medicate your body. So dedicate your body and mind to living a healthy life rather than medicate it. So we are on S for sunshine. Sunshine, vitamin D3, very, very, very important for us. I have a blog on vitamin D3, and I will send you the link for that because it is very difficult for us to get vitamin D3. Vitamin D2 is much easier to get, and when you are low on vitamin D, usually the doctors will give you a supplement, but it won't really necessarily cover your vitamin D3, it will cover your vitamin D2. So vitamin D3 is essential, and we only get that when the sun is at a certain height and time of the year. However, please get your sunshine every day. For those of you with darker skins, at least 30 minutes to an hour. For those of you with very fair skins, start on 10 to 15 minutes a day and build it up. But make certain to go into the sun at the right times of the day so you're not getting sunburned. Now, another thing I will point out is a lot of people are going into the sun, but they're putting on sunscreen lotions. Now, a lot of the sunscreen lotions are not necessarily healthy because they have all kinds of chemicals in them. If you're putting that on your skin and going into the sun, it's not going to do you any good. In fact, it's going to do you a whole lot worse. So please make sure you don't use any sunscreen that has any unnatural ingredients. Look for the best sunscreens, which if you send me a message, I will give you some hints and clues of to where to, or advice where to get some of the really good creams, sunscreens, lotions from, hair shampoos, conditioners. So in a nutshell, that was sunshine. Rest. I'm sure everybody knows how imperative rest is. You don't sleep well, you don't feel well. It becomes a different vicious cycle. You just can't function without adequate sleep, adequate rest. I believe for your body, you need 8 hours per night. Any more is probably too much. Any less is definitely not adequate. A lot of people suffer with insomnia, and that actually is a very, very difficult illness when it becomes chronic. So if anybody out there is struggling with insomnia, there's a lot you can do to help. And one of my suggestions for insomnia is CBT therapy. Works really, really well. And because there are underlying causes, obviously, with somebody who's insomniac. I've just come out of a bout of insomnia, but I was extremely busy and I just couldn't get my mind to rest. So for a few weeks, I found myself up through the night, not knowing what to do with myself and just feeling so drained. And I know it is very, very draining, and it's actually very, very crippling. So rest is very, very important. The last acronym of New Start is T. T is for trust, trust in the divine. Now, I don't push my own spiritual preferences onto anybody, but if you can remember, I started off talking about the 4 primary foods, and one of the primary foods is spirituality. Spirituality is very, very important for each person. Without a spiritual outlet, we're going to be in a little bit of a void. Now, spirituality is different for everyone. There are some people who meditate. There are some people who are Buddhists. There are some people who are Christians that believe in the Bible. That's what I believe. I believe in the Bible, and that's my spiritual path. However, I'm not going to force or push that onto you. But please take time to find a spiritual path that suits you, whatever that may be, whatever that may mean for you. And if you are somebody who's trying to find a spiritual path and you are unsure of which direction to take, please feel free to inbox me, and I'll be happy to share a few different paths that you may want to have a look at yourself. You may be interested in knowing, understanding, or listening to, or reading the Word of God, the Bible. I'm happy to help you with that too. But for today, my topic was get out of the vicious cycle. And I've given you an acronym that will help you to get out of the vicious cycle. So please look at A New Start really deeply. Go through each letter that I've given you today and question yourself. What is my attitude like? How is my nutrition? What am I eating that's not good for me? Or what am I not eating that my body's missing out of? Remember, we're made of dust. We need all the minerals that come out of the ground. Am I exercising? And if I'm not exercising, how can I incorporate an exercise program into my daily life? How about water? Am I drinking enough water? Am I so chronically dehydrated that it is causing so many other effects and or severe and poor effects in my system that it's creating even perhaps my allergies? Like, I know hay fever, if you don't drink enough water, you will definitely suffer suffer with hay fever. So make certain your water intake is correct. How about sunshine? Am I getting adequate amount of vitamin D each day? Because remember, there's not very much in the line of food that's going to give you your vitamin D. Most people need to supplement with vitamin D3 especially. Temperance is one of the acronyms I left out, which is the first T, so it's a new start. The first T after S is temperance. I left that one out and I'm going to come back to it at the end because this is a very important topic. So A was air. I left that one out too, and that I left out not on purpose. I did forget to talk about air. So air, we really need fresh air. I'm fortunate enough to live out in the country and the air up here is beautiful. I sleep with my window opened every night and couldn't sleep any other way because I find that the air is so much better for me. I sleep a whole lot better when I have my window open. If you don't live in the country, if you're living in the city and sleeping with your window open is going to be more aggravating for you, then try to take walks on the beach or go to a park where you can get some fresh air every morning and deep breathe or evening and take deep breaths of that fresh air. It really, really does you the world of good. So rest, I spoke about rest. Are you getting adequate rest? Are you sleeping too much? Ask yourself all these questions and then trust your spiritual path. Look for what spiritual path suits you best. You don't have to follow a spiritual path that somebody says you should, or because your parents follow it, or because your friends say being this is better than being that. You need to do the research for yourself, and once you've found out what works best for you, you will be happier with your choice of your spiritual path. Now I'm going to go back to temperance, which was the first T after S for sunshine. A new start, temperance. Now, a lot of people talk about temperance and say temperance in everything. Temperance to me is not in everything. Temperance is in everything good and in everything bad, abstinence. So when I say everything bad, I don't believe taking drugs is a good thing for my body. So I abstain completely from drugs. So temperance in, let's talk about fruit. Fruit is so good for you. I won't sit and gorge on fruit all day because fruit is still loaded with fructose and can also harm your body. So that's temperance, when you're eating just what your body needs or drinking just what your body needs. Let's look at water for an example. There are many people who've actually drowned themselves just by drinking too much water. So there's an amount of water you should drink based on your weight, based on your height, based on your workload, based on what activities you do, etc., etc. So temperance in all good things and abstinence in all and everything that's bad for you. So that was my topic on get out of the vicious cycle, because I truly believe your health depends on you. So if you are, pardon me, suffering from any dis-ease, take a look at this acronym and weigh up where you might be going wrong. Write a diary each day on what you're eating, what you're drinking, and you will certainly get to the root cause of your problem. I hope you enjoyed listening in to get out of the vicious cycle. I look forward to all your questions rolling in, and please feel free to inbox them and I will answer everybody's questions. Have a beautiful day, and for my Seventh Adventist friends, have a blessed Sabbath day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you and goodbye.